Today's movie is a special request from Patreon supporter Josh Gutman, who asked me to review The Last Dragon. That makes sense, I've already done The Last Dinosaur and The Last Shark, so might as well do this one too. I wonder how long until I do The Last Starfighter. I'm sure I'll probably get to it eventually. The Last Dragon is a 1985 film directed by Michael Schultz that can best be described as... well, to tell you the truth, I'm not really sure how to describe this one. I guess it's a martial arts, musical, comedy, fantasy? Sorta? It's one of those movies that's hard to put into just one category, but that's also a big part of why it's built up such a loyal cult following over the years. Another notable thing about it is that it was produced by Motown Records founder Berry Gordy, and both the soundtrack and movie prominently feature several Motown artists. So even if you don't like the movie, at least it has some catchy tunes in it. It also means I'm probably gonna have to cut around them a lot to avoid getting flagged, but I'll try to at least give you an idea of what they sound like. Damn, we're only at the beginning and already this looks like a martial arts version of Flashdance. Alright, it's produced by Motown, so let's hear that opening theme. Alright, like I said, I can't play too much here, but let's just say that while it may not exactly be classic Motown, if you're somebody who doesn't mind your R&B with a thick layer of 80s cheese on top, it's worth a listen. Anyway, martial artist and kickboxing champ Timac plays our main character, Leroy Green, aka Bruce Leroy, who's such a badass fighter he even kicks the shit out of the opening title. And if you still have any doubts over just how good Leroy is... Hey, do you mind? I'm training over here, you dick! Leroy may have passed the arrow test, but his master really starts to lose students once he switches over to bullets. And hey, Leroy finally got all of his martial arts merit badges.
The final level is a return to the beginning. This is the last dragon.
Title drop.
But Master, the final level, the glow.
Master, perhaps with more time to train. Master, I need more time.
You know, between Timac's appearance and his voice, it's almost like if Thriller-era Michael Jackson became an action star. Anyway, Leroy's master tells him he must now find a new master who will show him how to reach the final level and gain a mystical ability known as the glow.
There is an old sage called Samdangoy.
Is he related to Long Duck Dong? Before he leaves, though, Leroy's gonna need something else.
Take this. It was Bruce Lee's.
Yeah, right. That's from that crappy Double Dragon movie. Don't you dump that shit on me. And so Leroy sets out to find his new master, and if this came out today, there'd be a hashtag trying to cancel him for wearing that outfit. First, though, he's gonna take in a showing of Enter the Dragon. It's 80s movie gang night at this theater. And when I say 80s, oh boy do I mean it. Yeah, that's for bothering us while we're trying to talk over the movie. But everyone in this theater better be quiet now. The best character in the movie just arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for Show Nuff.
Am I the meanest?
Show enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Show enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Show enough.
Well, who am I?
Show Nuff!
I can't hear you.
Let me see if I can properly describe Show Nuff. He's like the villain from a blaxploitation flick, a Mad Max movie, and the Ninja Turtles cartoon all rolled into one. It's amazing.
Show enough.
However, Show Nuff doesn't appreciate it when people say that Bruce Leroy can beat him in a fight. He'd a master, damn it!
I am sick of hearing these bullshit Superman stories about the Wassa legendary Bruce Leroy.
Oh, great, now Show Nuff's gonna have a hashtag against him.
Catches bullets with his teeth? Nigga, please.
And now he just got my video demonetized. Before Show Nuff can fight Leroy, though, he's challenged by some extras from an 80s wrestling movie.
Jack him up, baby.
Damn, even Joan Rivers wants to see Show Nuff get his ass kicked. It's not gonna happen, though, mainly because Show Nuff fights like a dirty bastard.
Leroy! I'm gonna get you, Leroy. Because I am the Shogun! I will not rest until everybody knows Shogun is the master!
Alright, is it too late to forget about Leroy and just make this a show nuff movie?
Shogun is the master!
Okay, I'm still leaving without fighting. See ya! And just when you thought this movie couldn't possibly get any more 80s...
Still hungry, are we?
God damn, we're not even 15 minutes in and there's already been enough 80s fashion and style for like 3 Netflix series.
Live from 7th Heaven, it's Laura's Video Hot Pick. Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coke is it.
Yeah, I'll bet Coke was it on this movie set. I don't know when this movie turned into Canon Films' The Apple, but hey, I'll go along with it. And in case you had any doubt this was a Motown film, they just straight up start playing a DeBarge music video at one point.
Do you know what you are? You are what you is.
Anyway, the story here is video game mogul Eddie Arcadian wants to convince superstar music video jockey Laura Charles to play his girlfriend's new music video he just produced. And if you asked a computer to come up with the most 80s sounding movie plotline ever, it would probably be pretty close to what I just said. By the way, Laura is played by actress-singer Vanity. Hiring multiple actors with only one name really helps save money on the credits. And yes, she also gets a song in this movie. Vanity may have later became a born-again Christian, but this movie's one true god is the 80s. Oh, and I think her assistant might also be somebody I should mention? Somebody who went on to have a noteworthy career after this? I don't know, it's probably not important.
That's my woman up there. She don't know it yet, but she's mine.
Shut up, Gary Coleman. The only short guy that got his hands on Vanity in the 80s was Prince. Not only that, but I think Timex got eyes for Vanity too. Put them together and they'd have a full name. Oh, right, the plot. Laura refuses to play Eddie's music video, which doesn't go over well with him, so he just decides to kidnap her. That seems reasonable. Good thing Leroy's there to save her, and his martial arts skills are even great enough to take on this gang of Sopranos extras.
Are you alright, miss?
Yeah, what about you? Are you okay?
They did not harm me.
Okay, well thanks for the rescue, but do you think you could be a little less robotic and weird? Alright, to be fair, Timac was only 19 years old and had 0 acting experience before this movie, mainly being cast for his martial arts skills, so there is a reason for that. But in a movie with characters this over-the-top and colorful, his relative stiffness does stand out a bit. After he leaves, Leroy accidentally leaves his medallion behind. Either that or he couldn't find a pawn shop that would take it either. Anyway, what are the villains up to?
Where is that DJ lady anyway? I mean, what's the big deal? Can't she just meet us there?
Betty Boop never should have made the switch to color. Hey, if Leroy is such a fan of Bruce Lee, why is he teaching his students dressed like Uma Thurman and Kill Bill? In addition to being a student, Leroy also trains people in martial arts, although I'm not really sure what kind of martial arts he's teaching here. Whoa, whoa, easy, pal. The style's called Drunken Monkey, not Coked Up Monkey. I don't know, maybe that is what it's called in this movie.
Coke is it.
Speaking of which, the best character in the movie's back. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Sure enough!
The sign outside says this here school is for instructions in the martial arts. So we thought we might get some lessons.
Alright, as ridiculous as Sho'nuff is, I still love that he's in this movie. This is a guy that should have gotten an action figure when this movie came out.
Come on, Leroy. Teach me something.
I do not wish to fight you.
I think this movie needs Sho'nuff's overacting to counteract Timac's underacting. I'm also pretty impressed with Sho'nuff's gang. He's got Cyndi Lauper, Diana Ross, and Freddie Mercury as members. Hopefully Leroy's students can handle them.
How about you? String bean Rick James looking fool.
Okay, come on, kid. I'll make the musical references around here. Just like last time, Leroy refuses to fight, and as a result, Sho'nuff asks him to kiss his Converse.
You may not wish to fight me now, sucker, but you will. I'm gonna see to that. Who's the master? Sho'nuff! Who's the master? Sho'nuff!
I totally agree. Oh well, at least Leroy still has his family to depend on.
Mama-san, Papa-san, Richie-san.
Alright, son. Now sit down and eat your breakfast, okay? Good thing they have the TV tuned to the plot development channel so Leroy can learn who he rescued the other night.
Lord Charles. I would like to see her.
Well, who wouldn't, fool? I would like to see her.
You know, I think even the other actors think Timok's delivery is a little robotic. Leroy's such a stiff, he even has to get advice on how to be cool from his little brother.
Look, let me break it down to you. You let a lot of good years roll by without even testing the old equipment. I'd be less than a man if I didn't warn you if there's an art to making love.
And I think he's about to give him fuck tips, too. No, seriously, I really think that's what's happening here.
Ain't no woman like that gonna hold still while you figure it out. Not only do you not know when to do something, you wouldn't know where to put it if you did. It can really hurt if you don't know what you're doing.
How do you know, kid? Oh, that's why. He's been hanging out with Michael Jackson. I don't think his tips are going to be much help to his brother, then. While waiting for Laura outside her studio, Leroy sees her getting kidnapped again, although he's a little late this time. And if you were wondering just what the music video Eddie wants Laura to play is like... I can see why this Julie Brown song was cut from Earth Girls Are Easy.
You're gonna put my video on your show, aren't you?
I'm gonna tell you one more time. The answer is no.
Look, lady, you've been kidnapped twice. Just do the guy a favor and play his girlfriend's music video.
It's not that I don't like it.
So then just play it! Oh hey, the ninja from my Godzilla videos is in this movie. Oh, so that's what he was up to back in the 80s.
I do not think Miss Charles enjoys your company.
Wait a second, I recognize that stilted line delivery. Well, now that Eddie knows who you are, I guess that means you'll have to kill him. Or just leave with Laura. I'm sure Eddie'll forget all about this.
I need a drink. Why don't you come inside?
Miss Charles, there is something you may be able to help me with.
You're acting? Man, this apartment is almost nice enough for Patrick Bateman to murder somebody in. Alright, Leroy, now that you got your medallion back, let's see if you got the game of a true master.
I know what it's like to lose precious things. And then, of course, to find them again. You thirsty?
That saxophone is actually the sound Leroy's penis makes whenever he gets an erection. Leroy's not quite ready for that, though. He still needs to get more sex tips from his little brother. Besides, he's still gotta find where some dumb goy is.
Like sake wine. Here she stands, smooth and fine, looking good, and she knows what she's after.
Okay, I have no idea why this is happening, but sure. Early efforts to create an all-Asian boy band would not prove to be successful until the K-pop era. This is supposedly where Leroy can find some dumb goy, but first we'll have to get past, these guys.
I must see the master. It is very important to me.
Look here, chump. The master don't see nobody. Especially no jive coolies.
You guys sure you're in the right movie? I think Devil's Express is being filmed down the street.
Well, let me say it so he can understand it, Jim. You go now. Chop, chop. Holy ass out of this place. Am I saying right, my man?
Alright, pal. Pick a stereotype and stick with it, okay? Great. Not only does Leroy fail to see some dumb goy, but Show Nuff tries to mess up his dad's pizza place.
I was told I could find Leroy Green here.
I'm Leroy Green. Who are you?
Who is he?
Show Nuff! Who am I? Show Nuff!
You're right. That was a preemptive Show Nuff. I'm sorry, won't happen again. Leroy's dad says he doesn't know where he is, but Show Nuff doesn't have time for that shit. He's trying out for the Lingerie Football League later that day.
Who played this garbage? Shut up, bitch!
Well, nice to know Show Nuff has the same opinion of that song as I do. Well, I hope you're happy, Leroy. See what happens when you refuse to fight Show Nuff? This is why we can't have nice things. Now that Leroy realizes he's gonna have to fight Show Nuff, that means we're gonna need a training montage. Or, you know, just the one scene of him hitting the heavy bag. Guess that's good enough. Well, maybe a visit from Laura will make him feel better.
You know, the strangest things keep happening to me. I mean, I seem to be attracting the craziest people.
Well, that's not hard. You are in The Last Dragon. Laura's supposedly here to hire Leroy as a bodyguard, but I think she might be after something else.
It would be a great idea if I got myself a bodyguard. Like, someone to guard my body. How about it?
What?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Leroy. What do you need, a sign from God? She wants to kung fu around. Meanwhile, Eddie's busy hiring goons to take out Leroy at his video arcade, where all the shadiest deals go down. And the goons range all the way from Bayou Billy to Barbarian Rip Taylor. Alright, is there something less ridiculous going on? Okay, I know I already made an Earth Girls Are Easy reference, but that really is what these seem like. God, she looks like if Jem fucked a Transformer. And I think Angie's starting to question Eddie's plans too.
Well, I mean, if it's really all for me, I don't want you to kill anybody.
You know what? I changed my mind. She's actually like if Harley Quinn fucked the Suicide Squad poster.
Without that outfit, you're just another no-talent dental hygiene school dropout from Kew Gardens getting by on her tits.
Is that what she was getting by on? Look, Eddie, you can hire all the goons you want, but if you really want to beat Leroy, there's only one guy you need to find.
Am I the meanest? Sure enough. Am I the prettiest? Sure enough. I can't hear you. Sure enough.
Hey, Eddie, I didn't hear a show enough out of you, motherfucker. Instead of money, Shonuff just wants Eddie to make sure Leroy fights him. You might have to wait, though. Leroy's got to tell Laura about the glow.
If these hands belong to a master, someone who has reached the final level and could make his whole body glow, the beauty he would be able to create would be without bounds.
Look, Leroy, if you want to feel like you got the glow, I'm sure Vanity knows a guy who can hook you up with some good shit. These two seem to be hitting it off, despite Leroy still acting weird and awkward.
It is something I thought you can help me with. The art of making love. Moves.
I would love to show you some moves, Leroy.
Again, green light, bro. Laura must really be into Leroy since she brings him back to her studio to watch Koyaanisqatsi. Leroy watching a bunch of clips of Bruce Lee kicking ass is the closest we get to an actual training montage in this movie. But at least it comes with a training montage song.
To reach that upper level, your mind, body, and soul must be one. It's a sacrifice. It takes hard work.
Again, I can't play too much, but if this did have a real 80s training montage, this song would fit. All this Bruce Lee footage is really putting these two in the mood. Leroy's little brother isn't happy, though. He's not using any of his tips. After he leaves, Eddie comes back and kidnaps both Laura and his little brother. You know, considering Leroy was supposed to be Laura's bodyguard, he is off to a really bad start. Before he can rescue her, though, he still needs to see Some Dumb Goy.
Hey, my man. What it look like?
Hey, my man, what it look like?
How are the Asian guys better at this than you are? Don't worry about the disguise, Leroy. Turns out they'll take you to see the master if you get drunk, high, and gamble with them. You know what? That actually sounds pretty fun. They should have just told him that earlier. While that's going on, time to promote more Motown artists.
I want you, I need you, I love you, giving you everything. I crumble at your touch.
Hey, at least this time I actually switched to another Motown artist. Alright fellas, we're running out of time here. Will you just take him to Some Dumb Goy already?
Just right here.
How much you want to bet Leroy stands there for several hours before he figures out something's up? Alright, that's it. I may not fight Shonuff, but I'm gonna kick your asses if you don't take me to Some Dumb Goy.
This is Some Dumb Goy.
That's right, Leroy, there is no Some Dumb Goy, which you really should have figured out as soon as you heard the name Some Dumb Goy. Maybe Leroy's master was really trying to tell him that the secret to getting the glow can be found in a fortune cookie. Just remember to add the words "in bed" to the end of it. Actually, it probably has something to do with finding your inner strength and believing in yourself, but I don't know if I trust this guy.
If you will excuse me, my plane leaves shortly.
You are going on a quest for knowledge?
No, I'm going to visit my mother in Miami.
Hey, you can't fool me. You're going to Miami to teach YK Kim how to get the glow. Now that he doesn't need to find a new master, there's only one thing left for Leroy to do now. Rescue Laura and defeat Shonuff. So, two things, I guess.
If you go, I go.
Do you not need a weapon?
Weapon, right.
I'm sorry. I must do this alone.
I mean, you could also call the police and report a kidnapping.
Leroy!
Oh shit, Leroy just stepped into the Motown production of Zardoz. Before Leroy can fight Sho'nuff, he's got to make it through Eddie's gang of rejected 80s action figures. And is it me, or does the music here sound like it's from an arcade game? It's pretty appropriate I did that, since even the villains are starting to look like they're from a Final Fight game now. Leroy manages to get some help, too. Unfortunately for him, they're all from Karate Champ. Wait, what was it Leroy said before?
I must do this alone.
Man, good thing Leroy's students decided not to listen to him, or he'd really be screwed right now. This is where the movie really shows off its martial arts influences, although in keeping with the tone so far, the action here is less Enter the Dragon and more Three Ninjas Knuckle Up.
That was almost worth the price of admission in there! And to think, the featured act is yet to come! Come on, Leroy!
Didn't this start with you just wanting your girlfriend's music video played on TV? Considering it's been so upbeat and colorful so far, the movie just got surprisingly dark and gritty looking here. So here's another Street Fighter looking guy to lighten the mood a little bit.
Let him go. Anything you say.
You know, if that had been a Kenny from a Gamera flick, this would officially be the greatest movie ever. Don't worry, he's fine. He still needs to give Leroy tips on how to find the G-spot. Okay, we've delayed this shit for way too long. Time for Leroy to fight Sho'nuff. Do you agree?
Sho'nuff!
With all the video game references I've made so far, I almost feel like I should put a life bar above these two. Alright, time to see who's the master. You lose! Alright, that's not it, but Leroy's got his work cut out for him if he wants to defeat Sho'nuff. Huh. Okay, I thought Sho'nuff would be a little harder to beat than that.
Leroy!
That's right, Leroy. I'm invisible now. Am I the ghost with the most?
Sho'nuff!
Sho'nuff may not actually be invisible, but he does apparently have superpowers. Son of a bitch brought some super moves to this fight.
When I say, who's the master? You say, Sho'nuff. Who's the master?
Alright, at this point, even I'm getting frustrated Leroy won't say that Sho'nuff's the master. Things look bad, but Leroy finally realizes what his master was trying to tell him, and that true strength comes from within. Which seemed pretty obvious from the start, but as we've seen so far, this guy doesn't catch on too quick.
Who's the one and only master?
I am. You got the touch! You got the power!
Alright, I added that song in, but if it was in this movie, would you be that surprised? Now that Leroy finally has the glow, the winner of this fight is going to be determined by which one the effects team likes better. You lose. Perfect. Okay, fine. You the master. Ugh. Oh shit, the villains just remembered guns exist. What's he gonna do?
The sense of falling fast is all that I can feel.
Ah, come on. It'll take more than this Larry fine-haired clown to kill Leroy. And if Cannon Films had produced this instead of Motown, Leroy would spit that bullet out and shoot Eddie in the face with it.
Listen, officer, I'd like to report a mugging. Oh, listen, we're lucky to be alive.
Save it, Arcadian. You're going up the good this time.
Just think, if this were made today, Eddie could have just uploaded his music video to YouTube and avoided all those pesky felony charges. And don't worry about Laura. Turns out all you needed to do to impress her was bring her some flowers.
Would you teach me some moves? Yo, man, she got the cornball.
He ain't no cornball.
Unusually for a lot of the higher budgeted movies featured on this show, The Last Dragon was actually pretty successful at the box office, making more than 3 times its budget back. Critics, however, were less impressed, giving the movie mostly lukewarm reviews, but hey, since when has that ever stopped a movie from gaining a cult following? So, for cult movie fans, is The Last Dragon worth a look?
Sure enough!
Good answer. The Last Dragon is a great example of an enjoyably silly movie that doesn't pretend to be anything other than an enjoyably silly movie. Taken individually, it may not be the greatest as a martial arts flick, a musical, or a comedy, but the fact that it mashes those things together in such an energetically batshit way is a big part of what makes it entertaining. Hell, even Busta Rhymes is a fan of it.
Am I the meanest?
It's also very much a product of its time, practically oozing 80s-ness in its look and style, but again, that's just part of its appeal. A lot of movies I feature on this show are ones that can be enjoyed ironically, but The Last Dragon is a completely ridiculous movie that can be enjoyed exactly the way it was intended. Now that I've done a movie produced by Motown, I wonder how long until somebody requests one of the Insane Clown Posse's movies. Well, it's all for now. Until next time.